Heyo!
What is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Borderlands 3 video. Today we're going to be going through the 4th skill tree build, Gravity Flak. I'm extremely excited to show you this build, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week. Otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So as many of you will have noticed today, we are now allowed to show you 2 of the 4 Vault Hunters and their 4th skill trees. So if you are after a full and detailed breakdown of this skill tree, I have a different video which I will link in the description below. However, this is a build video about Gravity Flak. Now, one of the things that I do need to make people aware, and that people might not know, is the gravity snare itself does not do damage. So this is a build which was going to utilize both co-op play and solo play. So let's start off with what the co-op play will look like first. So first up, we will be using the gravity snare. We're going to be putting 5 points in Gotta Go Fast for extra damage to the pet and movement speed, and 4 points into agility training for some reload speed. We're going to be putting 3 points into Throat Ripper to give us as a hunter skill. Flak's pet attacks will give a chance to score a critical hit, which is really important for the build. And then Combat Veterinarian, which whenever Flak shoots the same enemy as their pet, they will gain life steal. So that's a nice little skill. In terms of forage, most of the time we will use forage, which is actually pretty good. If you plan to use on quite a lot of grenades, you can get quite a lot of these back really easily. We're also going to be using the augment wide net. It's, in my opinion, the best augment of all the augments in this tree, and the trap radius is huge already, so this just makes sure that we pick up any enemies in the trap. In terms of the next skill point, we're going to be using Lethal 4th Authorized. This is just for being cool. It is really nice to see that if your pet does die, which isn't actually very often, but if it does die, it runs off and blows up into enemies, and it does quite a lot of damage. Next point, we have Take This. Flak's pet gains a copy of Flak's shield. So in this instance, most of the time we're going to be using a stopgap, which gives your pet some immunity, which is really nice. We're then going to put 5 points into Monkey Do. Now this is where the build really starts to synergize together. So Flak's pets gain increased critical hit damage. Whenever Flak's pet scores a critical hit, Flak's next shot deals bonus damage. It appears like an amp shot based on the weapons damage. So the pet is going to get a bonus 70% critical hit damage when it hits, and it's also going to give us another 70% weapon damage, which is really nice. We're going to put two points into Not Even a Challenge. So whenever Flak's pet kills an enemy, Flak gains increased action skill duration and action skill cooldown rate. Now Flak's pets are really powerful now, so expect them to get kills and expect this duration to keep adding up. Then we are going to put 4 points into Fuzzy Math. So this is where most of our shield regen is going to come from. It works really well with Megavore, which we're going to get onto, but effectively whenever we score a critical hit, a portion of Flak and their pet shields is restored. It is really useful, gives you a ton of survivability. Finally, we have Capacitance, which is really good. So essentially what this does is every time you use your action skill, you're going to get double the shield for 16 seconds, and then after 16 seconds you have the ability to use it again if you have an action skill available. Now whilst this skill isn't the best with Gravity Snare, when we flick to our other mode, which is bossing, then we will be able to use this all the time. So the way that you want to use the gravity snare is you want to put it down, and then you can either use Forager, which means that you can chain your reflux together. If you use Blind with Anger, which turns those enemies into allies, you cannot use chaining weapons like the Brainstormer, the Reflux, or even the Plague Bearer, because that won't track. So in terms of kit, if you are going to main the gravity snare, you want something like a Cosmic Stalker for mobbing, you know, a Bounty Hunter for bossing. We're going to be using the Pearl, on Grenade Thrown Hex, and a Stopgap. That's kind of what I'm gonna be using. However, when we switch to bossing, we're going to be utilizing the actual red tree. So if we equip the red tree, you'll see here that I have a couple of augments in place, and we will go through exactly why. So in terms of the red tree, no surprises in this tree really. We're going to be picking up Interplanetary Stalker with 5 points, 3 points in Lead for No Trace, 3 points into Head Count, 5 points into Hunter's Eye, 3 into Big Game, 3 into Most Dangerous Game, 2 into Grim Harvest, 1 into Galactic Shadow, and 1 into Megavore. Now I won't hover over this tree too much because everybody knows by now what this is, but we are going to be picking up Falconer's Feast, and there is a reason why we're going to be picking up Accelerate, but we'll get into that in a little while. Then we're going to be putting 5 points into Ferocity, 3 into Persistence Hunter, 1 into Frenzy, and then as you finally see, we just have 1 point in the green tree, which is Furious Attack. Now, as I said before, this is a split build, so if you're going to be using for bosses, what you want to do is switch to a Peregrine class mod, and if you can get a White Elephant, I have a Last Stand one for an extra bit of survivability, and then you need a Fish Slap, which is only available from the cartel. If you are looking for any of this gear, when the DLC or when the Season 2 pass comes out, you'll be able to get this from our Discord. But essentially what you'll be able to do now is every time you use your rack, you are going to be immune. You are going to attach a Fish Slap, which is on a short cooldown from the Peregrine, and you are going to do crazy damage. You're going to be able to one-shot pretty much most mobbing enemies like with ease. You can one-shot Tron, you can destroy Tyrene, you can destroy all these bosses in the game with this build. So this build is for when you need to boss with the gravity snare doesn't really work. However, you can use this build to go through the takedowns as well. So you can take all advantages out of the purple tree and just apply it to this rack build, and you just god. One thing in particular is really good. Every single time you use your rack, you're going to be proccing capacitance, so you're going to be getting double shield capacity. You're still going to be able to access fuzzy math as well to restore your shields, so you get a ton of survivability. Not to mention, every time you use your rack, you're going to be immune because we have an action skill start stopgap. And then you're also going to be immune every time you go less than 50% health because of the Last Stand. You're also going to be immune if the shield actually does break. So it's really, really strong build, really, really survivable. If you are looking for any of the gear, then once the DLC is out, then you can go into my Discord and you'll be able to get it. But as you can see from the footage, we absolutely smack face with most things. It is really, really good. One thing the Gravity Snare is very, very effective for is for doing the crystals on the Guardian takedown. You can put the Gravity Snare in front of the crystals and the enemies won't actually get through that. They will get stuck in that, and then you can just clear them up with a reflux. It is really, really good. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week. And otherwise, I'll catch you on the flip.